I love that we use our own brand for a lot of our experimentation. And this one's going to be fun. I'm glad we did it. I love where it's going and where it will go because it has legs, so to speak.
Well, once that universal truth was identified and the top line of the metaphor was identified, then that's where it got even more fun because it was like, all right, how can I, like, this is part of it, but do I have to say JXM is like a remote for your brand? Or can I convey that in a way that hits a little bit deeper? And being flooded with a lot of very interesting projects lately, and also personal life situations where, we had, and this is not anywhere near what some people in this world are dealing with right now, but, we had the power go out for a few days, so I couldn't work and like things like that. How can I further think this out without me? And so what I did is I just plugged in a prompt to our friend ChatGPT, and I said, I need an acrostic or poem or an acronym for the word remote as it pertains to digital marketing. And it came back with suggestions for each of the letters in that word. So it was reach, it was expand, it was measure, it was optimize, it was target, and it was empower.
Wow.
Yeah.
I cannot believe you. Just yesterday, we were talking about how there's no way either one of us are ever going to remember it.
I had to study.
You were ready. You came prepared. Good for you.
But, then I could take that and add the additional messages to it. And now we have, much like the remotes of the past, a universal concept.
You have to push it a lot of times to make it connect.
Make the red light blink 4 times. But then I could use ChatGPT again to expand on that and say, write me a short blurb for a website that explains how a remote can be a metaphor for digital marketing. And I use AI as a tool to further conceptualize things. I don't take, either on the image front or the word front, I don't take it verbatim and just plug it in because it still needs some fine tuning. But it came back with a lot of fodder for thought that I would have never gone there without, a team of copywriters. So it helped me give breath to the concept in a way that I don't think I would have been able to given the time constraints and other things that were going on.
Yeah. And that's what's great about it, because it's just another tool.
Yeah.
It's not it's not going to supplant anyone that is talented and or is willing to put in the work. It will supplant those that aren't that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There are folks in copywriting land that are going to lose their job and their existence within an industry because they have been replaced by code. However, for those that are willing to do the work and for those that have the talent, these tools are going to magnify their abilities, not take away from them.
I see it as having almost a Google level encyclopedia next to me, because I also use it to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah. Well, you could do that in Bing now. I was messing with it yesterday.
Yeah, Bing
the only bad thing about Bing is you got to use Microsoft Edge, but
right. And so it's still very new, but it's sort of like having an assistant that's trained up on everything.
Yeah.
Like I've thrown scripting errors at it and asked it what it thinks. I've thrown not just scripting in the sense of like HTML code or JavaScript, but I've also done expressions in After Effects and said, how could I make this expression work better or run faster? And it will parse it out and say, try this, try that, try this.
That is wild.
Yeah, and
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
And, you know, so all of these things for me anyways are to sort of like become my research assistant.
You're Jarvis.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get sued by Disney.
Yeah, no, Disney's coming. Here he comes, Bob Iger. I think he's busy today. I hear there's an earnings report after hours today. So
How did I miss that? Because I hold Disney. So
Bobby's going to be busy tonight.
oh, I wonder if it's gonna be good or not.
I don't think it will be.
Oh, all right. Well, I do usually like to do earnings trades. I usually lose money on them because that's what I'm good at is losing money on trades.
Losing money.
Oh God, but whatever. That happens.
But yeah, so I think they're good tools for even the image generators are wonderful for breaking something out that I'm working on and going, I can visualize this in a different way if I ask the AI to do it for me. So, whether it's an illustration that I'm playing with or working on, and I'm like, you know what, I want to see this in this style. Or how does the image interpolate if I draw a character?
Are any of them able to output in a format other than flattened right now?
No.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
That'll be interesting. Get a layered format or something that is.
Yeah. Well, the where I think that could be valuable is certainly, in places where like the image editors like Photoshop and stuff, but more importantly, like the other side of where neural networks are really starting to have an impact and AI is starting to have an impact is with what Adobe's doing with their stuff is they're not sitting on this and just doing nothing. Like there are they call them neural filters. There are new AI filters in Photoshop to do a lot of really remarkable things that it would have taken me 10 hours to do just 5 years ago. And, hopefully I don't get emotional about this, but my son did his senior photos and he asked me to take the photos, which I felt was a big honor. And I know that it would have just been like a woman with like Uggs on, but like I wanted to do it. And I didn't like let on. He just kind of asked me and I was like, oh yes. So anyways, he's a teenager, he has acne. Cleaning up acne took me 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've ever taken photos before, that, 10 years ago, you're in there with the cloning tool trying to get rid of.
Yeah, trying to.
But that's one example. Another is harmonization. So taking two very disparate images in color palette and maybe even lighting and shading and just pressing a button and saying, make this layer look like this layer. And they blend together. They have the other, face swap, things like that they're playing with, but they have so many different. They call it Sensei is the name of their AI system, and it works across all their
like
applications.
Splinter,
Yeah,
Sensei.
yeah, like McMaster Splinter. So
I think he was that. I don't.
Yeah,
Whatever.
He's a master. I don't know if you can be as a sensei, a master. Or
I'm not educated enough to know.
No, and
that's usually my answer for most things.
So. But what they are starting to get better and better at, and this is something that I've recently discovered, is that in a diffusion AI model, they can give me variants of what I've already made. And that's really, really powerful. Sometimes I go to it and say, make me something, and I'll use that as inspiration. But then sometimes I'll say, I made this. I'm going to input it and ask you to make certain changes to it, so I can see how they look without making those changes myself.
And it allows you to kind of visualize very, very quickly and iterate from that kind of central point and then radiate out from it.
Yeah. And it's impacting creative in a way that I think is just exponentially, like it's just going to grow and grow and grow. Google this week dropped, or a couple weeks ago, but finally I think we can use it. They dropped a music-based AI that they have been working on in the background. And
what's this called?
LM, Google LM. And
get that. Jack might want to check that out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's still invite only or not, but what it is there's a lot you can do with it.
Audio LM?
I think so, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I've been playing with AI music generators for a while now, but this one's the most robust that I've seen, and it's really quite incredible what it can do. After a cursory review of its capabilities. I mean,
So it looks like it takes the written word and then applies music to it.
yeah,
So it could take someone like I do like writing lyrics. Of some of our very early work had a lot of lyrics to them. I would write
Yeah,
them, and I love
yeah.
doing all of that. So this could take something that I write and songify it, or
within the parameters of the prompt that you give it. Like you could try just
make this song about trash delivery sound like Saint Anger.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna say I'm on the money with the callbacks today.
You are.
I'll pat myself on the back.
But it's so rad because I mean, it's all developing so quickly. It's right in my wheelhouse to just be like on top of it all and just enjoying all of the stuff.
At the risk of directly plugging in an air compressor and pumping up your brain and ego larger than it needs to be, you're kind of creative polymath.
Yeah.
And and that's not just me, someone who can't do any of that, saying that. Pretty much everyone who has any level, they're involved in any level of the creative arts has said that to me, either in reverence and in some cases, a little bit of envy, just how you can step into, whether it's audio, video, whether it's music, whether it's written, whether it's painting or sculpting, how you're able to get involved in all these different things and with relative, I'm not gonna say it's ease, but speed, become certainly more proficient than most at it. And the fact that the thing that has been most exciting for me about AI on looking at it is saying, look at this thing. Look at these tools. I know I can only do so much with it, just like I can only do so much with a paintbrush, right? But being able to watch what someone with your talents and craveability are going to be able to do with these new tools is a real treat.
It's also a fun. Well, first of all, none of the AI stuff would. I probably would still be in this space of kind of like staring at it in like a dumbfounded sense if it wasn't for you kind of encouraging me. Like I think I think you're gonna do some cool stuff with this, and then me going, oh yeah, I am doing some cool stuff with this, but I also like the experience of trying to figure out how everybody else is using something and then one up that. So and it's not like a arrogance thing. It's just, all right, one of the things that I hope our clients always appreciate about our creative is that it goes one step further than it needs to, and sometimes way further than it needs to, both in thinking and in execution. And I say, how do I apply that same concept to this? And so that, because anybody that has the ability to use a computer can go into Chat GPT and put in a prompt and get information and all that. So it's not that it's the end, it's the means. And then it's like, okay, how do I combine that with this, combine that with that, combine that with this, combine that with that? So that at the end of it, all of my various skill sets have come together to kind of make this well-rounded thing.
Well, I think you said it perfectly. I mean, really, ultimately, AI is not the end of anything. It's the beginning of a new creative journey.
Well said.
I know.
That's a mic drop.